Benita Dent. Welcome to my Behavioral Health Center. I am a licensed social worker, and you are Maria, correct?
Yes.
Okay, nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you.
This
too.
is your first visit with us, correct?
Yes.
Okay, great. So would you mind taking a few minutes to talk about your alcohol use? And before we get into your alcohol use, I'd like to learn a little bit more about you. So I did write some notes down I have here on my laptop, so I'll be looking back in between my laptop and yourself. Okay. So what is a typical day like for you?
My typical day is I work a job 9 to 5. After my work is over with, I go home and me and Susan get together and we go out and drink.
Okay.
Which causes a lot of confusion between me and Susan, which is the reason why I'm here today, because Susan and I argue after drinking, and and it makes me depressed. So I am a lesbian, of course, because I live with Susan. And me and Susan met in college, and once I came out to my parents, caused me to even drink even more because people was not accepting the fact that I was a lesbian.
Okay, so I'm just gonna kind of go back over your typical day. So you work full time?
Yes.
Okay, and then you also has a live-in girlfriend named Susan?
Yes.
Okay, and you are 24?
Yes.
Okay, and you're Hispanic, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, and you came out to your parents that you were lesbian in high school?
Yes.
Okay, so your drinking increased at that point?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, just let me read some notes that I did have written down for you. So where does your alcohol use fit into your typical days? I guess a typical day for you, how does your alcohol use fit in?
Well, at first me and Susan had considered it as social drinking.
Okay.
But I think it's a habit now. It's not a social drink. We don't go out for a social drink. We go out at least 2 to 3 times a week. And I at least consume 3 to 6 drinks each time that we're out, which also causes a financial problem between me and Susan because of our job financial status. So
how old were you when you started to drink?
I was 13. And
who did you drink with at that age?
Well, we as a Hispanic, we have family over all the time because we eat out a lot. We eat and cook all the time, and I had a lot of older cousins who would come over and they would drink, and I would engage in drinking with them, and also neighbors and kids at school.
Okay. So help me understand through your eyes, what are the good things about you drinking alcohol?
The good things is that it makes me feel good. It makes me feel jolly, happy. I can just run, dance, sing, and feel like I not have a care in the world. So
what are the not so good things about you drinking alcohol?
The aftermath. The aftermath is I'm depressed. I'm arguing with Susan because of something that I might have said or did that night. So we're arguing about that, and then plus at some point in time, I sleep better after I've intoxicated.
Okay. So on one hand, you're happy, you're singing, you're jolly, you guys are hanging out once you get off work, and then on the other hand, you guys are arguing because you do things that you may not remember or may remember that you're doing when you're with your current girlfriend. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So I just wanted to make sure that I understood you correctly. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform an alcohol screening questionnaire.
Okay.
Which drinking can affect your health and some medications you may take or are currently taking. And to help provide you with the best medical care, I'm going to ask you 10 questions. Would that be okay with you?
Yes.
Okay, so I am going to go back and forth between my screen with my questionnaire and start with question number 1.
Okay.
Okay, so the answers will be never, monthly, or less, 2 to 4 times a month, 2 to 3 times a week, or 4 more times a week. Okay. So how often do you have a drink containing alcohol?
2 to 3 times a week.
Okay. And how many drinks containing alcohol do you have on a typical day when you are drinking?
5 or 6.
Okay. How often do you have 4 or more drinks on one occasion?
Monthly.
Or would you say weekly if you're drinking maybe?
Yeah, because I do drink weekly.
Okay.
I'm not drinking monthly. I'm drinking every week.
I understand. So how often during the last year have you found that you were not able to stop drinking once you had started?
Weekly.
Okay. And how often during the last year have you failed to do what was normally expected of you because of drinking?
Weekly.
Okay. And how often during the last year have you needed a first drink in the morning to get yourself going after a heavy drinking session?
Never.
Okay, that's good. And how often during the last year have you had a feeling of guilt or remorse after drinking?
Never.
Okay. And how often during the last year have you been unable to remember what happened the night before because of your drinking?
Never.
Okay. And have you ever or someone else been injured because of your drinking?
No.
And has a relative, friend, doctor, or healthcare worker been concerned about your drinking or suggested you to cut down?
Yes.
Okay. And was that recent that they requested you to cut down on your drinking?
Yes.
Okay. And was that in the last year?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So each response has a scoring range between 0 to 4. I'm going to just total up your responses real quickly. So I have you scoring about, let's see, a 16, which is the zone of harmful. Okay? So let's just move forward here. I do have some information on low risk guidelines for drinking.
Okay.
Would you mind if I share that with you?
That's fine. Thank you.
Thank you. So based on your assessment, you scored 16, which fell in the zone of harmful. We know that drinking may be 2 to 3 times a week, 5 to 6 drinks at one time, can put you at risk for illness or injury. The recommended behavior to change is to cut back to low-risk drinking levels unless there are some other medical reasons to abstain you from drinking completely at all, such as liver damage, pregnancy, medication, or anything like that. So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm concerned about my health at this point because I'm 24 and I probably consume more alcohol than the average person. So I am concerned about that, and I'm concerned about my career because I seem to not be able to do both at the same time because not to be able to work and drink at the same time. So I feel it's harmful for me, and I need to either cut back or stop, period.
Okay. So we have what you call like a readiness ruler. It's like a pain scale what we use in our behavior health center. So on a scale from 1 to 10, 1 is not being ready at all, 10 is completely ready. How ready are you to change your alcohol use?
Oh, I'm 100% ready.
Okay. Well, that's great. So I would say, is that from a 1 or a 10?
I would say a 10.
10, great. So I would say that you are 100% ready to make change. Mm-hmm. Why did you choose that number and not a lower number such as 1 or 2?
Because I know I need to change. Because I look at myself in the mirror and I know that at 24, I should be doing better than what I'm doing.
Okay, sounds great. So what are some options or steps that will work for you, as far as like helping you to reduce your drinking or for your 100% to change? What are some steps that will work for you?
One thing is not to go to the bar, not to frequent the bar. If I concentrate more on myself and my career and what I want to be, then what I went to school to be, then I think that would take up some of the slack of what I'm missing in my life.
Okay. What do you think you could do to stay safe and healthy?
To stop drinking.
Okay. Sounds great. And what would help you to reduce things that you do not like about using alcohol? So the things that you mentioned previously, like the not so good things, what would help you to reduce the not so good things?
Excuse me. It will be to stop drinking.
Okay. And can you tell me about a time that you overcame a challenge in your past? What kind of resources did you call upon then, and are those resources available now?
The resources were speaking with a social worker, and also I would want to continue to see a social worker.
Okay, sounds great. Of course, and I feel like those are great ideas. Is it okay for me to write down your plan, your own prescriptions for change to keep with you as a reminder?
Yes, that would be
fine.
fine.
Okay, thank you. And will you also summarize the steps that you would take to change your alcohol use? As I'm writing down, you can let me know what steps you would take to change your alcohol use.
I would change it by not going out to the bars and stop hanging out at the bars. and excuse me, and to stop arguing with Susan, which causes me to become depressed and have anxiety attacks.
Okay. So I've written down your plan, a prescription for your change to keep with you as a reminder. So as of now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to recommend you for outpatient counseling with myself.
Okay.
I'm going to also recommend for you to see a mental health counselor to deal with your depression and your anxiety issues that you have from, arguing, from you drinking and whatnot. And then I'm also going to give you some handouts that's on the effects of your alcohol. Okay, so here's some handouts. This is some information that I'm going to give you based off on your alcohol. Also, there's your prescription for change, and included in that as well is also the information for your mental health counselor.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you for sharing with me, Maria. I greatly appreciate it. Okay, and I'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.